The Eastern Trunk Line begins at Hualien Port Station in the north and extends to Taitung Station in the south, originally spanning 175.7 kilometers with a gauge of 762 millimeters. The expansion of the Eastern Trunk Line was undertaken to connect the Western Trunk Line's branch lines, the Southern Link and North Link lines, as well as the Hualien Line. In December 1977, the Eastern Trunk Line Expansion Project Office was established to oversee planning and preliminary work for the line expansion. Official construction began on July 1, 1978, with the track gauge being widened from the original 762 mm to 1,067 mm. The expansion included the rerouting of 8 sections and the construction of 2 riverbed tunnels and 9 additional tunnels. The 8 realigned sections included Shiko Section 8.5 kilometers, Hualien River Section 4.3 kilometers, Jialong River Section 1.5 kilometers, Mazalu River Section 1.4 kilometers, Sanmin Section 5.6 kilometers, Fengping River Section 2.2 kilometers, Xiugu Lan River Section 1.5 kilometers, Zhangxing Section 14.8 kilometers. In June 1982, the Taitung Line switched to a 1,067 mm gauge railway, and the expansion project was completed and opened on July 1, 1982. Several stations, including Tianpu, Linrong, and Wuhu, were closed, and the Taitung Line was renamed the Hualien Taitung Line. However, when the expansion project opened, the section from Wuhu to Sanmin, passing through the Zhejiang No. 1 tunnel, had not been completed. As a result, the 1,067 mm track was temporarily laid through the Saoba Tunnel, and the tunnel clearance was lowered to accommodate the 1,067 mm gauge trains. In 1984, the Zhejiang No. 1 tunnel was completed, and the track switching between the Zhejiang and Saoba tunnels was finished. The entire line was completed and opened on New Year's Day, 1985. The total length of the Hualien Taitung Line reaching 168 kilometers. The Eastern Trunk Line is located in the eastern longitudinal valley, between the Central Mountain Range and the Coastal Mountain Range. In the early period of Japanese colonial period, it was still sparsely populated with low transportation demand, primarily considering industrial railway transport. The initial railway construction was relatively simple, with a gauge of 762 mm, steel rails weighing only 10 to 12 kilograms, and the use of small steam locomotives. The railway along the route had steep gradients, sharp curves, low capacity, and slow speeds. For decades, it operated independently and was unable to connect with the Western Railway, hindering the economic development of the eastern region. As the population continued to grow and the public demand for transportation increased, and with the goal of developing the eastern region and completing the island-wide railway network, there were efforts to strengthen the Eastern Trunk Line over the years, along with the widening of the Eastern Railway to achieve the goal of an island-wide railway network. The Shiko section is located between Shoufeng and Nanping, with a total length of 8.5 kilometers. To solve the problem of slope gradient and the safety risks posed by river sedimentation to the bridge, a 1,598-meter-long Shiko riverbed tunnel was constructed, passing under the Zhejiang River. The construction was carried out during the dry season in winter, adopting the 1,067 mm gauge standard. The cut-and-cover method was used, which involved excavating the riverbed, constructing the tunnel walls, and then refilling the site. The project was completed at the end of March 1982. The Hualien River section is located between Wanrong and Guangfu, with a total length of 7.2 kilometers. The riverbed of the Hualien River gradually rose due to sedimentation, and if a new bridge was constructed, the slopes on both sides would have exceeded a gradient of 20 per thousand. Additionally, the riverbed would have continued rising in the future. To address the problems of slope gradient and river sedimentation, which posed risks to train operations, the original railway route that crossed the Hualien River was replaced by the Guangfu Riverbed Tunnel. This tunnel was built using the cut-and-cover method, with a 1067 mm gauge standard. The tunnel construction also used the drilling method to pass through the embankment. The Guangfu Riverbed Tunnel has a total length of 2,356 meters, a clear height of 6 meters, a lining thickness of 0.6 meters, an arch fill thickness of 2.5 meters, and the distance from the riverbed to the track bed is 15.1 meters. The project was completed in mid-December 1981. The Jialong River section is located between Guangfu and Dafu, with a total length of 1.5 kilometers. The main focus of the realignment was to straighten the curve of the railway. The Mazalu River section is located between Fuyuan and Ruisue, with a total length of 1.4 kilometers. The key improvements in this section included slope adjustments and the construction of the Mazalu River Bridge. The Sanmen section is located between Ruisue and Yuli, with a total length of 9.3 kilometers. The major improvements included addressing the silt soil formations by constructing the Ziqiang No. 1 Tunnel, Ziqiang No. 2 Tunnel, and the Xiugu Lan River Bridge. Ziqiang No. 1 Tunnel has a total length of 2,750 meters and passes through Wuha Tableland. On February 15, 1979, excavation began simultaneously at the north and south portals. In April 1980, at approximately 600 meters from the south portal, soft silt formations caused a collapse, forcing the suspension of excavation. Meanwhile, excavation from the north portal continued, completing over 1,800 meters, leaving only the most challenging remaining 270 meters unfinished. To overcome these difficulties, Retzer Engineering Agency conducted extensive research and decided to adopt the new Austrian tunneling method. Engineers from renowned tunneling companies in Austria and France were invited to provide on-site guidance. The tunnel was fully completed by the end of 1984. The Fengpingsi section is located between Sanmen and Dayu in Yuli Township, with a total length of 2.2 kilometers. The key focus of the realignment project was to improve the slope. The Xiugu Lan River section is located between Qishang and Haiduan, with a total length of 1.5 kilometers. The main objective of the realignment was the construction of a bridge. The Zhongqing section, located between Luyi and Taitung, spans 14.8 kilometers. Among all the realignment sections, this segment underwent the most significant changes. Originally, this railway was laid by the Taitung Sugar Company as a sugar railway, which did not meet the standards required for general passenger and freight transport. Therefore, during the eastward expansion, the alignment was also modified, rerouting the railway from the Chulu Hills to the banks of the Beinan River. As part of the realignment, the Zhongqing, Jiafeng, Chulu, Dongcheng, and Binlang stations were abolished, while Shanli and Beinan stations were newly added to the new route. The project was completed in 1982. After the completion of the Eastern Line Railway expansion project, sections were gradually opened to traffic, and the entire line was officially inaugurated on New Year's Day in 1985. The railway between Taitung and Hualien underwent a track widening project starting in 1978. In addition to adjusting the track gauge, the alignment was modified, with some sections straightened. The original 52 stations were reduced to 34, with some stations, including the Hualien Old Station, Tianpu, Nanhua, Binlang, and others, being abolished. At the same time, new stations such as Shanli and Beinan were added. The Eastern Line track widening project had to be carried out without disrupting train operations. Besides the challenges encountered during construction, the completion phase required a massive simultaneous transition between the old and new tracks over a distance of more than 160 kilometers. This operation demanded a swift switch to ensure that train services remained unaffected. The Hualien Taitung Line consisted of 34 stations, with a total of 68 sets of light rail switches at station entry and exit points. On the night before completion, between the last train of the day and the first train at around 2 a.m., all 68 sets of light rail switches had to be removed and replaced with 1,067 mm gauge track switches. The entire track transition, spanning over 160 kilometers, had to be completed overnight to allow for smooth train operations, a truly challenging and extraordinary task. The track widening project was carried out along the existing railway while ensuring normal train operations, making it as challenging as altering clothing while wearing it. The key aspects of the Eastern Line track widening project included changing the track gauge from 762 mm to 1067 mm, reducing the maximum gradient from 25 per thousand to 15 per thousand, expanding the roadbed width from 4 meters to 5.2 meters, upgrading the rail weight from 22 kilograms to 37 kilograms, increasing the length of sleepers from 1.55 meters to 2.15 meters, enhancing the ballast thickness from 15 centimeters of cobblestone to 20 centimeters of crushed stone, raising the bridge load capacity from 10 ks to 16 ks, increasing the minimum curve radius from 100 meters to 300 meters, extending the effective track length from 200 meters to 460 meters, constructing 11 new tunnels in addition to the original single tunnel, upgrading telecommunications systems from overhead lines to underground cable ducts, reducing the number of stations from 52 to 34, increasing train speeds, diesel locomotives from 40 km per hour to 75 km per hour and diesel passenger cars from 85 km per hour to 95 km per hour, upgrading Hualien workshop facilities to serve as a maintenance base for diesel trains. The Eastern Line track widening project resulted in the following accomplishments: earthwork volume, 3.04 million cubic meters, tunnel construction, 10,762 meters, new or reconstructed major bridges, 5,270 meters, new or reconstructed minor bridges, 796 meters, new, extended, or reinforced culverts, 366 structures, track widening, 238 kilometers, station yard expansions, 34 stations, track realignment, 39.81 kilometers, installation of underground telecommunication cables, 162 kilometers. The Taitung Line Railway was completed in 1926. In its early years, the railway had poor alignment, with steep gradients and sharp curves. Due to the mountainous terrain of the Taitung Line, reconstruction required immense manpower and budget. For over 50 years, residents of eastern Taiwan endured the hardships of inconvenient transportation and limited economic development. With the completion of the Eastern Line expansion in 1985, the Taitung Line was successfully connected to the Western Trunk Line, becoming a crucial segment of Taiwan's circular railway network. For the people of eastern Taiwan, this marked a groundbreaking transformation. Nestled among towering mountains, this railway was built through relentless efforts in tunnel excavation and bridge construction, overcoming countless challenges posed by nature. The safe and convenient transportation we enjoy today is the result of the dedication, and even sacrifices, of those who came before us. It is our responsibility to cherish and protect this invaluable legacy. As we travel comfortably and safely along the railway, let us not forget to honor and express gratitude for the selfless contributions of those who made it possible.